Sunglasses, check. Nook, packed. Camera. I guess I could do without it, I finally decided, because it would only occupy space I needed for the rest of my clothes, electronics, and beauty products. Basically, all the essentials a girl needs when traveling. I was running around my room like a complete maniac, making sure I had packed everything I needed for my summer abroad in Florence, Italy, or Firenze, Italia, as I like to tell people. "Mom," I yelled, unnecessarily dragging out the O. When I heard her respond, I asked, "Can you bring me the checklist ACA sent us? I'm kind of freaking out a little up here." I could not believe that in less than 12 hours, I, Emily Travis, would be spending the next month traveling and studying in Italy. While I usually could not contain my excitement about my upcoming trip, there was also this fear in the back of my mind that would creep into my conscious thoughts and replace my elation with trepidation. I was terrified of entering into this amazing journey alone. I wouldn't be alone in the sense of being unaccompanied because I would actually be surrounded by 50 peers. I just didn't know any of the other 16 and 17-year-olds who would be on this trip. Over the past several months, the only way to repress my fear was to remind myself that I've done this before, and it worked out wonderfully the last time. With only a few hours until takeoff, I let my memories flood into my mind and take over my thoughts before my panic could dominate. I had spent every summer of my life since I was 8 years old with the same group of my 15 best friends at a beautiful sleepaway camp in Starlight, Pennsylvania. I waited 10 long months for 2 months where we spent our nights giggling on lumpy mattresses and sleeping 3 feet from each other in wood-framed bunk beds. Instead of my history homework, I would daydream about our days running around the lush green sports fields or splashing in the cool, murky water of our favorite lake, ironically named Perch Pond. This suddenly came to an end when we were 14 years old, and the directors decided that they were going to split the 15 of us up among the other bunks. I became disheartened by the knowledge that if I returned, my summers at Camp Starlight would never be the same. Instead of spending another summer with a new group of girls within the comfort of camp, I decided to embark on a new journey and signed up to be a part of Frying Teen Toy's Grand Adventure Tour. Most of my friends would be back at Camp Starlight for the summer, and although I did not want to go on the tour without any friends, I knew that this was the opportunity of a lifetime. Not many people ever have the chance to spend 40 days traveling, and there I was, at 14 years old, being offered this incredible opportunity to travel the western United States. The first few days of travel were uncomfortable for everyone, but by the end of the summer I was as close with my tour mates as I was with my Camp Starlight friends. We spent countless hours together riding on a crowded tour bus, pulling all-nighters in hotel rooms, and cooking our own meals while camping. My Instagram still holds the evidence of our duck-faced bus selfies, photoshopped pictures of our faces onto Mount Rushmore after visiting the monument, and punny captions from summer skiing in Canada. I had spent that summer traveling to places other people could only dream of, while turning a group of strangers into lifelong best friends. While remembering the tears running down my cheeks during our last night in San Francisco, I returned to the present, where I am loading my suitcase, carry-on, backpack, and pillow into the trunk of the car. Crying into the soft fur of my dog Max, I say a tearful goodbye to my siblings and leave the familiarity of my home and friends behind for the foreign New Yorkers I will study with in Italy. I've always been the type of girl who spends most of her free time with friends. Whether we were sneaking into PG-13 movies or complaining about the sprints Coach Strack would make us run at practice the next day, we were always together. My friends are basically an extension of my family, and I've always found comfort in this fact. No matter what happens, my family is a safe place that I can truly rely on for anything, so when my friends started referring to my parents as Mom and Dad, I knew that I had found my best friends. Knowing that I love to spend my time with friends, it may seem contradictory that I was terrified of spending a summer surrounded by people, but there is an immense difference between the two. When I become surrounded by strangers, I suddenly become awkward. I don't know what to say, I don't know where to stand, and I definitely don't know who to approach. I felt the fear begin to spread throughout my entire body. I could hear my heart thudding in my ears, feel my breathing suddenly become harsher, and I could feel the sweat trickling down my back. As I got out of the car at JFK Airport, I knew that I could not approach people in my current state of mind. I tried to let the crowds of rushing people, the honks from yellow cabs, and the idle chatter between the desk attendant and travelers drown out my thoughts. It didn't work. I decided that before I became any more nervous, I should probably attempt to find people to sit with on the 8-hour flight ahead of us. My mom was staring at me and apparently thinking the same thing because she pointed to a group of girls and states in her lecturing tone of voice, "Those girls over there look nice, or what about those two girls? We're leaving soon, You need to go talk to some people." After a quick roll of my eyes, I walked over to the first group of girls and introduced myself. "Hey, I'm Emily. What are your names?" I hesitantly asked in a shaky voice. If it was even possible, I felt my heart race even faster, and I would do anything to make sure my sweat wasn't bleeding through my shirt. I had spent hours tearing apart my closet until I found the perfect, comfortable yet trendy outfit. I was wearing cropped black Lululemon leggings paired with an oversized light gray Free People tank top and completed by my brand new black thin slip-on sneakers. Looking around, I saw the little silver Lululemon logo on the bottom of almost every girl's pants and took comfort in the fact that I fit in. Unfortunately, while I was trapped inside of my own thoughts, the group of girls must have answered and now think I'm ignoring them. In my hurry to respond, I reintroduced myself, earning me some weird and judging looks. What a great start. After boarding the plane, I finally feel comfortable, and while the irony of feeling safe in a cramped airplane seat 10,000 miles in the air is not lost on me, I feel comfortable because I can finally surround myself with something familiar. AP Calculus summer homework. For most people, the sight of a calculus problem can induce heart palpitations, sweaty palms, and general terrors, but I find solace in the right and wrong, the logic and reason that accompany a calculus problem. Each problem I encounter is exactly that, a problem or challenge that needs to be solved and overcome. With each question I answered correctly, clarity began to replace the fear and panic that had overtaken my mind earlier that morning. This clarity brought with it the solution to my fears. I must face my uncertainties exactly as I would begin a calculus problem, with confidence and excitement. I don't surrender when I find something difficult. Instead, I tackle the challenge and learn something from the situation. Although this trip would push me beyond the places where I feel most comfortable, I knew I would find myself in a foreign place where I could develop and become a better Emily. With this thought in mind, I placed the bulky, number-filled packet back into the folder where it would remain for the next month. When I finally looked away from my calculus, I found myself amongst a sea of people who I knew were strangers, but any outsider would have guessed they were best friends. Every teenager I saw sitting in the cramped tail section of the dark plane was simply laughing and talking with the stranger sitting next to them. Since I was lucky enough to have a seat at the end of the row, I turned to my right and saw everyone next to me engage in a competitive game of trivia on the tiny glowing screens attached to the seat in front of them. This was my moment to leave my fears in the past, and I jumped on the opportunity. "Hey, I'm Emily. What are your names?" I repeat my question from earlier in the day. But this time, my voice was exploding with confidence rather than shaking with fear. I don't think everyone heard me over the noise and chaos that surrounded us, but the girl sitting in the tiny seat next to mine faced me with a welcoming smile that took over her entire face. "My name's Chase, but give me a second to answer this question," she answered. The remainder of the long flight was spent playing ridiculous airplane television games, talking about all the food we would eat in the next month, and playing Jewish geography, the favorite game of any tri-state area Jewish teenager, which is basically everyone in this section of the airplane. I spent the following 28 days with Chase and our other friends, eating gelato and gnocchi, drinking wine and limoncello, taking pictures with the David and the Tower of Pisa, and unfortunately, studying for class. In what seemed like mere days, we were gathered around tables for our last dinner in Italy, where we simply retold stories of all the amazing things we had experienced. Everybody laughed and cried together while reliving some of the greatest moments of the trip, which I still consider to be some of my favorite memories from my 19 years of life. The next day, we landed in JFK, and although it looked the same as it did 28 days ago, it felt like a completely different place. Within such a short period of time, I experienced a profound amount of change, so rather than feeling scared in JFK, I was simply sad. Knowing that we would all be going home to different cities, I now didn't want to leave the terminal I was once fearful to enter. That month allowed me to explore new places and new people without the familiar faces I often rely on, pushing me to expand my comfort zone. I now look forward to embarking on new adventures where I can explore my expanded boundaries and eventually break through these broader confines of my comfort zone. I must venture into the world where I can face my fears, because I will overcome challenges that will allow me to return a different and somehow better Emily.